Hey there. On the show today, I have James, who has released several games through this channel, and his next one is a Psychic Danger Society. Mysteries, psychic readings, seances, spooky stuff. If you love that, you're going to love this game, and it's kickstarting right now. Stick around. That interview starts now. Hi, James. How are you?
Hi, Mike.
It's good to see you again.
Oh, it's good to be back. It's good to be back. We're making it a regular thing almost. Aren't we?
We are, yeah. I think this is officially like a team up or something. It's like
the crossover comic book issues.
I was thinking the same thing.
Spider-Man and Iron Fist,
right? You are here to talk about your newest project, which is hot off the heels of Betting Bullets, and it's called the Psychic Danger Society. It is a ttrpg, and the interesting thing I found about this game is you roll all your dice in the beginning, and you don't roll them again.
Okay, Mike, I'm gonna take you back about a year. And about a year ago, you and I were doing an interview for something else. I think Solo Martial Blues.
Probably.
And you said, "What's coming up that you're excited about?" Or something like that. Some kind of foolishly leading question, which prompted me to say, "Well, I've just come up with this game about 2 days ago at that point called the Psychic Danger Society, and I told you about it first."
Mm-hmm.
And now it's real.
Here it is.
The predictions have come true.
Absolutely.
So it's on Kickstarter now, the Psychic Danger Society. The premise is it's a cozy little small town, and you're playing kind of busybody ladies who have psychic predictions and then try and go out and do good in your community, or more specifically, to prevent it from danger. And the mechanical hook is, yes, you roll at the beginning of the night, and those are your rolls, because those are your predictions, and then you have to make those predictions come true. You don't quite know what they are. You got to wait until it happens, but that's the premise.
Yeah, it is. What I love about this is, and by the way, my husband is a huge fan of yours. He really is. He always says that our interviews tend to be interviews that he really enjoys because he likes your personality and kind of what you bring to the table. But the personal story about this is your last game was really about your dad and his love of Westerns, and also your time growing up in, small town America. This one is about your mom and her love of murder mysteries.
I didn't plan it, but yes. Yes, I don't know. I wrote them around the same time, and if I were better at marketing and more of a businessman, I'd probably space out these games more and make more of a marketing fuss. But they're real and they're done, and I just want them out in the world, right?
Yeah.
But this is very much my mother's game, even though I would never tell her that. My father did read Betting Bullets, and even though he didn't understand a word of it, he thought it was really neat. But for my mom, she wouldn't get any of this. But that's fine. I have found when I've shared my experience growing up in a small town that it's a little bit, in some ways, atypical to a lot of people, because in my small town, nothing got done without 3 dozen or 2 dozen or so really powerful ladies who ran the IODE or the CWL or this women's league or that women's league or whatever, and they were basically in control of the town, right?
Very, very Music Man-esque.
Yeah, and maybe unlike a lot of small towns, women also had the political power. We had the longest running mayor at the time when I was growing up was a woman as well. So, I'm not saying it was matriarchal, but it was made very clear to me that if you wanted to get anything done, you had to appeal to these ladies.
Sure.
And their ability to get things done. My mother was one of those ladies. She was on the hospital board and the library board and the this and that kind of every volunteering you can do. So I used to spend a lot of my summer weekends volunteering at various fundraisers. Mm-hmm. And then at night, she's the one who really ruled the television. and it was murder mysteries because that was her bread and butter of entertainment. She wanted murder. She wanted horrible, gruesome murder all the time. But that particular time of television produced some unusually wholesome murders.
Yeah, as wholesome as a murder can be.
Like Murder, She Wrote and Heart to Heart and some sweet programs, where if it gets grisly, that's just a little bit juicy, but it's never actually, gross or upsetting. It's just murder. So I wanted to write a game about these powerful ladies, and I wanted to write a game about a murder mystery because I never felt like that was done quite properly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, there's detective games. There's lots of detective games, but like solving a case in this way. And then I chanced upon a unique mechanic, which is what if you rolled everything at the beginning of the night? Who would do that? How would that tie into a setting? Well, what if they were psychics and this was a prediction? So you get together for a seance and you roll all your prediction dice and then you get an inkling of what's happening. I'm like, oh, Mike, I guess the one I'll use on the Kickstarter, a piano is going to drop on someone on Front Street. You get this vision in your brain. And then all the ladies go, oh no, who is it going to be? And when is it going to be? And how are we going to get there? And then they start spending their dice to solve the case. And then the other kind of twist on the end is that as you fail cases, which will happen sometimes, they become increasingly supernatural. So it starts off cozy. Stock boy at the grocery store will get a concussion when he slips off his ladder. We prevent that from happening. Or someone's going to cheat on their spouse and make a big scene in the middle of the farmer's market. And that will cause much scandal. Eventually you get things like the person running for mayor is secretly a vampire. So maintaining cozy, pleasant, enjoyable, small town, community, huge focus on community. I didn't want to go, full Cthulhu-esque madness. No, the attitude is homey. And it very much is influenced by a kind of web of influences from my mother and growing up. I don't know how people make games without them being personal, because I can't make something without it being personal. And because I can't really make something unless I care about it. Mm-hmm. And this is how I care about it. Or this is why I care about it. So it's unique mechanically. The setting ties into the mechanics very strongly. It's cute. It has some great art done by a friend of mine who's a artist. And it came together really quickly. So even though Betting Bullets is like a month and a half old.
The ink's not even dry.
I know. I wanted to progress with this, and so here we are.
There you go. So this is kickstarting. It just started, didn't it?
Yesterday, yeah.
Yesterday. So as always, I will have links down below to the Kickstarter, and you can obviously find all of Radio James games at the appropriate website, which will also be in the link down below. So when you're designing games like this and you're designing them with these unique mechanics, so for instance, Betting Bullets, you spent bullets and that was your currency. You covered them for doing things, you spent them to do things. Having this kind of diceless, shouldn't say diceless because there are dice, but they're all there in front of you to use, and once you exhaust them, bad things happen.
Yes. Well, it's interesting you say diceless, because that's not far off. Because even though you're rolling them, it plays a lot like a diceless game, because you have a resource pool, effectively. I got this 12 here. It's going to be really, really great. But I've also got this 1, and I hope I don't have to spend that. And you try to match up what you can do with the situation. So it does play out in a way dicelessly. And once the dice are done, you don't know what the future is. You don't have any more predictions. So now you're vulnerable. Mm-hmm. So now you could get winded when you're trying to rush across the street and have to sit down on the park bench for a little while. Or you could twist your ankle, or any horrible thing.
Sure.
Characters do die, but every time I've run this game, it has been a direct result of a player's knowing consequences that they've died.
Yeah, I mean, as usual, you always have delightful creations, and there's always an interesting take on the TTRPG trope, right? So, I mean, this isn't your Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder. This is role playing at its very core,
And keeping it short, right? It's 60 pages. It's not a big commitment, and you don't have to come up with anything as a GM, because you're rolling on these tables for these cases. So I'm lazy. So it's nice for me not to have to prep anything. I can just go. But yeah, Mike, what's important to me in this space is doing stuff that's never been done before. And I know there have been little old lady tabletop role-playing games in the past, but I feel like this particular marriage of setting and mechanics is strong and worth doing. It's weird though, because I probably alienate my audience from every game with the next game.
Yeah. You're redefining the genre every time.
Well, also, like anybody who followed me for Fight to Survive, which is martial arts, I followed up with Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
And then anybody who was into the Cowboys, I followed up with psychic ladies. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know who's going to come along with me through this.
For the wild ride.
Exactly.
Well, eventually you've got to have little old ladies who fight with martial arts in the Wild West. And then you've summarized your creative.
Bring it all together under one roof, I guess.
Right, exactly.
No, I'll just continue getting weirder, and you'll keep seeing progressively weirder things.
I'll be along for the ride. Well, as always, I appreciate you coming on. Again, links down below to the Kickstarter. If you want interesting games that are role-play heavy, they really kind of challenge you as a player, James produces great ones, and I'll have links to everything that he's produced. But as always, it's amazing to see you.
Thank you so much, Mike. It's so wonderful to be on.